guys, what's going on? Tony here, CCxRC, and on the bench we have a new on-road RC car from Kyosho, the 1970 Dodge Charger, and this thing looks awesome. The packaging looks awesome, and it's running that Fazer Mk2 chassis, which we saw on the Mad Van over there. And my cat right now is biting on the grip for my tripod and moving it and panning it and all of that kind of stuff. Now this is the Fazer Mk2 chassis design. They've got several different cars that you can get in this lineup. I believe it's a 1970 Chevelle as well. There's a couple of other models. I think there's a 69 Camaro. You guys can look online and find out what other ones there are available. I know that there's other ones, and that Mad Van over there runs on this chassis style as well. Has a little bit wider arms, but this is what we're looking at today. It's been out for several months now, but it was really hard to get my hands on one. Every time I'd see it at my local hobby shop, it would be gone when I'd go back to get it. And so I was waiting for it to get back on the shelf, and it finally did the last time I was there. So I'm excited to have this. Picked it up at the hobby town of Virginia Beach, and it looks awesome. We'll look at some of the details with you guys. Then we'll get down and do a little bit of run footage for it in this same video, which is unlike me. You usually have to wait for another video. But I think the unboxing is going to be pretty quick, guys. So let's get to it, and let's get this thing on the road. Alright, you guys, here we go. We're going to get a look at the car and everything that came with it. Gandalf, our little kitten, is going to take part in this as well, it looks like. He's growing pretty big, though, for a little kitten. He's a young guy, but he's going to be a big cat. So you get a manual with it. Lots of information in here, how to build it, parts, all that, how to drive, get it all set up for yourself. Got a little goodie bag here with like your brakes, but they're really just a wheel widener. So that's what those are used for, to widen your offset. A bunch of extra pieces here, spacers for your shocks, rod ends, looks like maybe pistons for your shocks, another servo horn, and screws and stuff like that, a couple tools. Pretty good little goodie bag. And the last thing is this little sticker that can go in the front here. This car, these would flip up and reveal your lights, and because it's just a sticker on here, you need to change the sticker to do that with this car. So here's the controller that comes with it. It's a Synchro KT231P 2.4 gigahertz controller. Really great for a $229 car. The radio system that comes with it is fantastic. They've got this kicked the wheel a little bit. It's got foam on it. Feels really good in your hand. Steering trims, dual rates, throttle endpoints, trim, reverses, all that kind of stuff in here. Really great controller. And 3-position switch here for like an aux, then on off. So yeah, pretty cool. And the car itself, again, for $229, you get a lot with this vehicle, because the body itself, which is what really drew me to this car, is absolutely stunning. And it's got a few plastic pieces like this mirror on the front end. The grill here, at least the outside of it, is going to be plastic, as well as the gas cap, and then the rear end parts here as well. So lots of detail on this car. Probably if you were to just buy the body set up like this, it'd be close to $100. So for that, the controller, whatever cost that would be, wheels, tires, an actual chassis, motor, and electronics, is a pretty awesome deal. So looking over this thing, it does look just like the Mad Van, except it's got shorter arms for the wheels, like I was saying earlier. The servo mounts right up in here, and it is a KS202W servo, waterproof by Kyosho. So this thing's going to be able to take a lot of terrain. They've built this thing to go off-road, on-road, and be able to handle just everything you throw at it, which you can't say about all on-road cars, and which is what I like about these Kyoshos. After driving that Mad Van, I had to try one of their other cars on-road, knowing that I could take it off-road as well. So up under here is the receiver and a 60 amp ESC. We'll open this up in just a minute to look at those. Plastic drive shafts and plastic output drive shafts as well. Gandalf is moving through the frame, and it's running Dean's connectors here for the plug end, which is all right. And my Venom batteries will adapt over to that real easily. So if you do want to go brushless, I've heard Fresh Squeezed RC said you want to replace this with a metal drive shaft for sure if you're going to go brushless powered 3S, stuff like that with it. But overall, we're just going to run at 2S, I think, for the most part. You may see us do an upgrade on the motor. It is running a 14-turn 550 brushed cannon here, which I was actually surprised by in the Mad Van. It was pretty peppy, I would say, for sure. No adjustability on the turnbuckles, front or rear, upper arms. So what you see is pretty much what you get for how they've set the steering up on here. But it's just a fun basher. It's a street basher. We'll go ahead and just open this up real quick. 2mm screw here, pops out. And we'll be able to remove this plastic piece, take a look inside at the electronics in there. So there's a 3-channel receiver, the 60 amp ESC, which uses little plugs. It's set up for LiPo out of the box and forward brake reverse, but you could just do forward and brake or forward reverse. There's different ways based on how you adjust the pins that are in there, which is pretty standard. But yeah, there is a 3rd channel you could use for lights or whatever you want in there. Sound module for this car would be pretty cool. I think it would be pretty cool. We're going to go ahead and just button this back up. One thing that it does have that I didn't point out earlier was it does have aluminum caps to the shocks. They are plastic bodied. Suspension feels okay. A little bit bouncy, but it should do all right on the road. And front bumper here. It's funny when you look at the car from the bottom side, when you've got all this on, how much space there is between the bumper and the body. You won't want to be hitting stuff hard with this because you're not getting support at all from the bumpers. So you'll want to minimize crashing because it's just going to really tear into the body as it flexes. But yeah, plastic tub chassis. It's running hex hardware all around and looks pretty easy to work on. So it's 4-wheel drive. I don't know that this has a slipper in it or not. I'll have to look. So quickly going through the manual, it does have a pretty cool feature here for setting up your pinion gear so that it will be the right setting, and it's based on configuration here, what holes the motor mounts go into in order to set it up with the right amount of teeth, which is really great. You can't mess up that way your mesh. But also looking at this, it does not look like it is running a slipper, and so it is going to be a pretty direct drive. So the spur gear is just mounted right onto that center drive shaft and goes right to the rear diff and to the front diff. So there's not a slipper setting to worry about on here, but all of that looks pretty easy to get at, and maintenance for this looks to be pretty minimal. So really looking forward to getting this out, guys. Let's get it out on the road and have some fun with it. All right, guys, so out here with the 1970 Dodge Charger by Kyosho. Gonna do a speed test for you guys. Inside, we've got our Dynamite speed checker at 0, a 50C Venom 2S LiPo battery, and it's running that 14-turn motor. I've heard that it gets somewhere, I don't know, 25 mile an hour range out of the box. So we're gonna go ahead and see if that's accurate. We'll put just a couple body pins in here for now, just to keep the lid on. But hard to do one-handed, and we try to not change anything so that you know that we are doing an accurate speed test and that you're seeing it from 0 to when we actually take off the lid and check it. So we keep it running for this, and we'll give it a few passes up and down, get a look at it. All right, here we go, guys. Looks good. My GoPro running at the same time. Get out of the way for this car coming. Get a quick feel for how this handles to make sure our steering is set. All I've done is break in the motor a little on a block. Haven't done any driving yet. Little street basher. Not meant to be a speed car, more of a street basher, parking lot bash. So we'll give it a few passes, let it build up some speed here, and then we'll give it a test. Make sure all of our Throttles are set up all the way. Looks like we are. So top speed doesn't seem that super great, but it feels good for a little bashing car. Just to rip around in the dirt. Parking lot like so. Get a little drift action going. That's what I really plan to do with this. I'm not a real speed guy. I just like to have fun with RC cars. The fact that this chassis will allow me to drive in the dirt and on kind of any type of road surface, for the most part, is what I'm happy about. I would rather have slower speeds and the ability to drive at more places than I would super speed, but I have to have a completely groomed racetrack to run it on. So I feel like we gave it a pretty good run there. Long enough at full speed multiple times to get an accurate readout of what our speeds are going to be. 25 miles per hour. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and find a place to just speed bash this thing. Do a little street bashing, off-road style. Alrighty guys, there you have it, the Kyosho Dodge Charger. This thing is a little ripper. So much more fun when you're just going through the grass and bashing with it than trying to go for speed. And that's what I like about this type of car. Perfect for my use for an on-road car, is being able to take it off-road.